morning, Unity of Greenville. How are you this morning? Good. I see many in the house this morning. I told James, I said I wouldn't be surprised if there'll just be me and you and a dog named Blue. Just a few this morning with the rain, but look how many of you manned your boats and got here this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know about everybody else, but I have been really holding space for rain. I know that we need it, and I am grateful for it. I love the cleansing aspect that rain brings. It just seems to clean and clear the air, and it does that with myself as well. When that rain falls, I just let it fall over me, and a little bit of thunder rumbling. I don't know. I like it. How about you? Okay, there's a few people in the house that like it. All right. Well, this morning, our Muslim friends are celebrating the holy day of Eid al-Adha, and forgive me if I did not pronounce that correctly. So we want to recognize that. And on a lighter note, it's National Kitten Day, which every day for me is National Kitten Day. I celebrate kittens and cats. If you know anything about me, you know that I'm a cat lover, so I celebrate that every day. But is it officially National Kitten Day? So I want to bring your attention quickly to our prayer chaplain ministry that we have here. It has been, on hiatus for the last 2 years, and we are getting it back up and rolling. So for those of you that have either been touched by a phone call from a prayer chaplain, or you've had the opportunity to meet with a prayer chaplain here in the building and you've missed that, know that it is coming back. We will be having a training in August, so that's quickly approaching. I want to invite you to hold the idea of becoming a prayer chaplain in your meditation time. See if it speaks to you. It is a very special group. I think it's one of the integral parts of our church here, our church community. And I would welcome anyone that's even remotely interested in exploring it to come and talk with me about it. I can put you in touch with current or previous prayer chaplains that can share a little bit of their experience and what it's been like if you'd like to know some firsthand accounts of it. But there's a packet in the back on the table back there. If you're interested and you want to learn more about it, pick up one of these packets this morning. I will be ordering prayer chaplain training material very shortly, so it would be nice to know how many I might be looking at adding to the program. So just touch base with me. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. Maybe when we go into our meditation time this morning, that might be something you can invite them to sit with. I'm not telling you what to do, of course, but if you want to invite them to sit with that idea this morning, that would be really great. So let's take a moment to take a couple of nice deep breaths. Some of us have already had really busy mornings this morning. We've made beds and we've fed cats and we've done all that needs to be done to get the morning generated. And so we want to just let all of that go and be in our space, fully present, fully here for our meditation and our spiritual feeding this morning. And as we get prepared for that, let's hold the morning's daily word in our thoughts and in our energetic field. And it's the idea of being generous. The word is generous. And the affirmation is, as I give, I share God's abundance. And if you'd like to say that with me, it's up on the screen. You can. Let's say it together. As I give, I share God's abundance. So the limitless resources of infinite spirit flow through my loving heart and clear mind as a never-ending supply of divine ideas. I always have all that I need to live abundantly, and I share my abundance with others joyfully and freely. I give generously of my resources, my talents, my skills, happy to support those that I care about. I am generous with praise, with gratitude and encouragement. I give generously of my time. I'm a good friend, a devoted family member, and a compassionate listener. Whenever I give without thought of reciprocation, I center myself in the divine flow. I'm grateful. I am a grateful, trusting recipient of Spirit's unfailing generosity and a conduit through which all of God's blessings flow. And Proverbs 11:25 tells us, a generous person will be enriched, and one who gives water will get water. So it's that idea that what you sow, you reap back. So we take that idea into our being and carry that with us. Reverend James, what you got for us this morning?
Well, good morning, everybody. How are you? Hey, it's good to see you. Why don't you stand up for just a moment and just find 2 or 3 people to give them a fist bump or an elbow bump or whatever you feel to do. You may be seated. Thank you. We're going to invite the children up at this time. All right, here they come. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, she's got a little extra color today. Very nice. All right, you guys ready to sing? God is.
God is.
I am.
I am.
I create.
I create.
And I pray.
I pray.
And I act.
I act
On the truth that I know. God is.
God is.
And I am.
I am.
I create.
I create.
And I pray.
I pray.
And I act.
I act
On the truth that I know. There is only one God. There is only one love.
Woohoo!
All right. All right, let's send them off to their classes now with a blessing. You guys ready?
We
love you. We bless you. We behold the Christ in you. We appreciate you, and we bless your teachers too.
Thank you,
and
Gary.
So it is. Thank you, Gary.
Wonderful
Send some love
teacher
to Gary
back
today.
there.
All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You feeling good today? Taking care of yourself, taking your vitamins, drinking your green juice and all that kind of good stuff, and eating your, apple custard pie or whatever. Is that a thing? I'm not sure. Anyway. Well, I've got some news today, an announcement. We don't have a trumpet. Dun, 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 dun. But we do have an announcement. Over the last 3 months, we have put a survey out because people have been asking, saying, all right, we'd like to have a different service time. It's okay, well, what do you want to do? So the 3 options were 10 o'clock, 10:30, and 11 o'clock. And guess what you all voted? 10:30. Well, you guys already know. Most people wanted to have it later, okay? I think we had around several that were 11 o'clock, and then we had most that were 10:30, and then we had, maybe 3 less that were 10 o'clock. So my apologies to those that wanted to keep it the same, and my congrats to those who wanted to move to 10:30, because beginning August 7th, we will start meeting at 10:30. Okay? All right. So we did it the Democratic Republican way. We voted, right? How many were here last week? You know what we're talking about. Back when the Democrats and Republicans were on the same team. Anyway, I better get away from that. Let's move on, shall we? I want to talk to you this morning about this subject. It has to do with many historical things that have happened in our movement, a new thought. And I'd like to title this Healed States. Healed States. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said, words are also seeds. And when dropped into the invisible spiritual substance, they grow and bring forth after their kind. Did you get that? Great words. Now, Charles and Myrtle, when they discovered the new thoughts and new concepts and new ideas, divine ideas, was back in the late 1800s. And do you know what the major religion was at the time? Puritanism. Puritanism. And you might say, well, James, what is Puritanism? Well, Puritanism is the fear that someone somewhere might be having a good time. And so people were stuck. People were stuck in this belief system that had gotten a hold of people and needed someone or some people to begin to point the way away from guilt and sin in favor of a world ruled by love and acceptance. Love and acceptance. How does that sound? Well, that's what unity is all about. Unity, if it is a religion, I would say it is a religion of love. It's a religion of inclusion, right? It's a religion of acceptance, allowing people to be their own person, make their own way, manifest what they desire in their lives. Fillmore also said that man's bodily condition depends on his state of mind. No two persons the same age are in exactly the same bodily condition. This shows that years do not make you young or old. Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as he thinketh within himself, so is he." So is he. There was a German physician by the name of Franz Mesmer. Anybody ever heard of Mr. Mesmer? Well, you have heard, you just don't realize it. He came up with the idea of magnetism and flow. Magnetism and flow. At first he called it animal magnetism because he was just beginning to understand what this was. And in the beginning he thought it might be some kind of fluid that moved through the physical body, which today we would call chi or energy. And when it was blocked, when this energy was blocked, that it would create illness in the body whenever it was blocked. So in the beginning he used magnets at first, but then he realized it was really more of an energetic kind of a thing. And he discovered that, as a young child, one day he had the opportunity to put his hands on his grandmother, and she was healed when he was 6 years old. And so what he would do is put his hands close to people, and there would be an energy movement, transference, however you want to say it, and people would be healed. And so he had meetings where he would do this, and people would be healed. He was great friends with Mozart. And Mozart would come to him for healing. He lived in Paris and in Vienna, and he had more patience than he knew what to do with. Well, the story moves on. And mesmer becomes mesmerism. Have you heard the word? To be mesmerized, right? And Quimby, Phineas P. Quimby, have you ever heard that name? He is considered the father of New Thought. He was a clockmaker, watchmaker from New Hampshire. And he had contracted tuberculosis. Tuberculosis was a big thing in that day. And he began experimenting with some of these ideas that he got from Mesmer and different people, and just wanting to understand how he could maybe find healing for himself, right? He found that through intense excitement, such as galloping around on his horse, he would raise the energy, and that would alleviate his pain for brief periods of time. And he became interested in the mind's ability to affect the physical body. And after a while, the TB was gone through using the methods that he was learning about. So he brought about this idea of change your mind, change your life. Change your mind, change your world. And as I said, he is considered to be a father of New Thought. Some people say the grandfather. And I say, whatever. Right? This was back in the 1800s and early 1900s. Now, Quimby would deal with people who the doctors would give up on. And he would tell his patients that disease was caused by their false beliefs, and that the cure was an understanding that that was the root of their problem. And he would explain to them how their false beliefs were creating illness in their body. One of his students was a lady by the name of Mary Baker Fullerton. That was a setup, wasn't it? Who later became Mary Baker Eddy, right? And she was sick. She was sick a lot. You notice a thread here? You know when you get desperate, when you get sick, you reach out and you are willing to try anything, right? And so she was able to heal herself as well through these techniques. Christian faith healing got its start at this time as well, out of all of this new thought, these new ideas. People begin to realize, hey, you could lay hands on people and they could be healed. Isn't that interesting? And then, of course, there was Emerson and the Transcendentalist. And they had a big effect on New Thought. John Locke, who studied Emerson, would take Emerson's teachings and distill them down into practical application and share them with others. Now, there was a woman by the name of Emma Curtis Hopkins. How many have heard of her? Okay, all right. 2 or 3, that's interesting. And she studied with Mary Baker Eddy. And she studied with her along with Quimby. And eventually they parted ways, and she created or started a theological school in Chicago in the late 1800s. And then one day, one of her professors was sent to go to Kansas City, Missouri. You heard of that place? And that's where, when he spoke, Myrtle Fillmore heard the words, "You are a child of God, and therefore do not inherit sickness." And guess what happened to her? within a 2-year period, she was able to heal herself of TB. They say, seems like a lot of people had that. Yes, they did. As a matter of fact, I think there were several people in her family who had died from tuberculosis. All right? It was a real problem. But she healed herself. And interestingly, she was a great inspiration to her husband, Charles. And Charles said, wow, this, he didn't say it like this, but in our modern vernacular, he would say something like, it's blowing my mind, man. Right? And he said, I must go to headquarters and ponder this. And what he meant by that is every morning and every evening, he would, for half an hour, he would just sit in the stillness and the quiet. And over a period of time, he began to sense and feel that tangible sense of the presence of God. And it changed his life. Well, a couple of years after this, after Dr. E.B. Weeks had come to Kansas City, later, Emma Curtis Hopkins was invited to Kansas City to speak. And Charles Fillmore was so impressed with her. Notice how the women are starting to make inroads here, right? Yeah. And she had a very clear, good and strong influence on Charles. She taught something called the 12 powers of the soul. Sound familiar? And the 12 teachings that she shared that inspired Fillmore's writings, who would later go on to talk about the 12 powers of man or the human being. And then, of course, Emily Cady, who was a student, she developed the Lessons in Truth. All of these women were very influential in the bringing about of new thought and this new way of thinking, these divine ideas. Now, Emma Curtis Hopkins, she was considered the teacher of teachers because she taught Ernest Holmes. She taught all of the new thought leaders who went later and created divine science and science of mind, the spiritual living centers, unity, all of these various, came from Emma Curtis Hopkins. She was a powerhouse, right? And so that brings us up to the next couple of centuries, where a little bit at a time things, how many understand that truth, when it first comes in its raw form, it takes a while for it to expand. It takes a while for it to be refined and understood at a deeper level. Does that make sense? Remember the first time you studied chemistry or algebra or geometry? Did you get it the first time? I know you're not going to commit because you don't want anybody to see you shaking your head no, right? So it took some time. And then we began to have teachers like Eric Butterworth. How many have heard of Eric Butterworth? Fabulous teacher. And he began to say things in a more modern way, that could speak to the mind of the 21st century people. He said, our job is not to set things right, but to see them right. Do we have any fixers here? How many know you need to resign from your CEO-ship of the universe? Put away your toolbox and begin to see things clearly and as they are rather than as you think they should be, right? Or as you think they are. Some other quotes by Eric Butterworth. If you haven't read any of his books, they're fantastic. We've done studies on, the flow of life and various books over the years. But he says, don't go through life, grow through life. Do you like that? Grow through life. Some people are just going through the motions. It's time to grow up, isn't it? One of the best things to do sometimes is simply to be. Doesn't that sound good? He said that we don't change what we are, we change who we think that we are. God can only do for you what she can do through you. Think about that. How many understand that you have something to do with this? It's not just, all right, God, take care of everything. But there's something that you need to do to channel that wisdom, those divine ideas. That's what we're here for. Butterworth also said that prosperity is a way of living and thinking, and not just money or things. See, it's your thinking that is at the root of most all of your experiences. Have you come to that conclusion yet? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Something to think about. What are we talking about, James? Well, we're talking about states of consciousness. We're talking about states of well-being and of wholeness. But, James, where did Jesus talk about this? In the Bible. Where is it in the Bible? And I'm getting ready to tell you. The word salvation in the Bible, in the Greek, is soteria. Soteria. And what does soteria mean? It means to be safe. It means to be whole. It means to be well. It is a state, a consciousness of wholeness and wellness. Take a breath with me. A state of wholeness. If somebody asks you if you're saved, check in with yourself and see. How is my state of well-being? Am I at peace? That I'm safe. I mean, I understand a lot of people say they're saved, but they're not safe to be around. You know what I mean? So that's what Jesus taught. He was a spiritual teacher. One of the words for healing that was used was therapeuo. And this is the word that we get therapy from. He was applying a spiritual therapy to people. A spiritual psychological therapy. Do you know that if you bring someone in who is wild and untamed, maybe a child or an animal or a person or a husband or a wife or whatever, that they are untamed, they are angry, upset, and you begin to apply the medicine of pure energy, love, and acceptance, then you begin to bring healing to that person. And they begin to see and realize that it's okay to settle down, that they're safe with you, that you're not going to condemn them, you're not going to abuse them, you're not going to hurt them. And over a period of time, they begin to accept their wholeness. And they begin to feel at ease. See, to be at ease is different than dis-ease, isn't it? To be at ease. ease. So that I can be at ease with you. And when you're around your pets, they feed on your energy. They know when you're upset. And if you have a pet owner who is a little neurotic, then your dog will take on that neurosis after a while. How many know that you look like your pet? And your pet reflects back to you your energy. Are you hearing me this morning? Are we doing okay so far? So we're talking about states of well-being. That's what unity is about. Let's not forget that. It's not having a better belief system than somebody else. It's not a superiority kind of thing, right? It is a haven of peace. We're a haven of peace where people can come and feel connected and come back to themselves. Because here's the thing. If you give people space, they will begin to heal. But constant, fighting and accusing and telling them, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Why do you say that? Why do you act that way? Well, they don't know, or they wouldn't do it. Say amen, somebody. He said, but James, they really know. All right, if you want to do that, have at it. See how that works for you over the next 10 years. Or you can work on yourself and allow yourself to come back to your true sense of well-being and wholeness and see that energy. Emmett Fox. Have you ever heard of Emmett Fox? I did a study on him one time. Just read everything I could read about him because he was a miracle worker. He was an amazing person. Many of the books that Unity uses, are based on his teachings as well. And he would have these great meetings and thousands of people would show up. And then he said, well, I'm going to take off for the next 3 months. He said, but I'll be back in 3 months. And he would leave. And he'd come back 3 months later, and there'd be even more people that were drawn because there was just an energy about him, that state of well-being and wholeness. You know what I'm talking about? People felt safe in his presence. That's what I think that all spiritual teachers, Jesus and Buddha, when you were in their presence, you were home, right? You were home. You were like the prodigal son, and you were home, and you were welcome. That's the kind of energy that we're building and creating here. Do you understand? That's the direction that Unity of Greenville, that we want to go in, that the Unity movement is going in, is to be a healing place. Because here's the thing, folks. Just by working on yourself and finding your well-being, then people come into our midst and their headaches begin to go away. And their bodies begin to be healed. And their psychosis is relieved. Now sometimes, for some people it happens instantaneously, and it's wonderful. They were ready. They were all pre-set up. You know what I'm saying? Because how many know there's this divine intelligence that's kind of putting all this together? Have you ever noticed that, somebody, drank all their life and all of a sudden, poof, poof, they quit drinking and they are like the best person in the world. Right? Because they were set up. They were brought through a process. You didn't see the before, you just saw the after, right? And some people are brought here to be set up. Are you with me? They are brought into your presence to sit next to you, to hear you speak, to watch your life and see how you live. Doesn't mean you're perfect, right? Because sometimes, we show our imperfections. You say, James, do you have any imperfections? Let's not talk about it. Right? There are things that we're all dealing with. Everybody's got their Achilles heel. Everybody's got their curriculum that they're working upon. Their stages of growth they're moving through. You don't have to be perfect to be a healer. Right? Some of the best healers are sick themselves because they develop such a compassion for other people because of their own suffering, that there's an energy that's built up inside of them, and they begin to share this healing energy. And it heals you, it heals them, it heals us all. You understand what I'm saying? You are a healer this morning. You are the Christ presence manifesting in physical form. The end of your hands is healing energy. It's spiritual. Now, these states of well-being, these wholeness states, these healed states, come through meditation and through fasting. Now, we talk about meditation from time to time, but we don't talk a lot about fasting. How many understand that fasting is not always food? Now, it can be food, right? There's a lot of talk today about intermittent fasting. How many's heard that? That's a big thing right now. And fasting helps to purge and cleanse and renew. You hear what I'm saying? Sometimes we need to fast our negativity. We need to fast our complaining. We need to fast some of these, things that we have going on in our lives that we know are unhealthy, right? And we need to work on letting them go. But how do you really let something go? How do you really do that? Well, you have to fast it. And what that means is, the word repentance in the Bible, for instance, in the Greek is the Greek word metanoia. Metanoia. Meta means change. Noia means the mind. To change the mind. To change your mind. Are we changing your mind? Anybody this morning? Is your mind being changed? Do you feel it? You feel it? The change taking place, allowing yourself to change, feeling the energy working in and through and around you, right? Metanoia. It means that you've been walking in one direction maybe all your life, and all of a sudden you stop and you take inventory and you choose a new path and you start moving in a new direction. That's what it means to repent. When I was a kid, I would go to church and they told me, you need to repent. And I said, I already did. Do it again. And repentance in the church that I grew up in meant that you got on your knees and you cried and you screamed, you yelled at God and said, please change me. Please take this from me. How many understand that I've come to the belief that God is not going to take anything from you that you're not willing to give? Let's take a breath. But James, I've been praying about this for a long time and it hadn't happened. Right? Why do we hold on to things? Why do we hold on to hurtful behaviors, to, bad habits? Why do we do that? We do need metanoia. We do need to change our minds. Jesus, that's what he was talking about the whole time. So meditation, fasting, singing. That's why we like to sing in church, because singing puts you in an altered state of consciousness. It moves you out of the state you were in into a greater awareness. Singing. And you can do that anytime. You can do that in your car. It doesn't matter if you're singing in perfect, some people they can hear, and I don't know if I can do this or not, but I know some people that can. They hear perfect pitch. They have perfect pitch. And it's like somebody says, ah, and they go, oh, that's an A. Somebody goes, ah, oh, that's a B. And they hear it. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the rest of us who just love to sing. And it doesn't matter what you sound like. In the Bible, it says make a joyful noise, right? Make some noise, everybody. Make some joyful noise. Just get up in your house. You want to do a cleansing of your house? Walk through your house and go, da, 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 da. I bless this room. I bless this room. I bless this house. And I bless it. And I call in the angels and the divine order and the higher power, See, James, that's so silly. I know. Children know how to do this. If you watch little children, they know how to alter their consciousness. They know how to mesmerize themselves. Right? They know how to, and mesmerism turned into hypnosis. That's another connection. There's all kinds of connections here. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing the blueprint here? Are you seeing the patterns? If you follow the patterns, then you'll see what life is trying to what? Tell you. Happiness is a state of mind. I can't give you happiness. Right? Person next to you can't give it to you. But if you're open to it, it will begin to rise within you because it's your true natural state of being. That's the beauty of this thing. All we're doing is helping people get back to their true nature. Do you see? Can you see it? We're helping folks to discover who they really are. It all begins in the mind. It all begins within. And then it begins to manifest outwardly. Everything is moving. Let it move. Let the Spirit move you. Let the Spirit move you. Let it move you. Right? Develop a slow down vibe. Become conscious of what you're doing. Conscious of what you're saying. Conscious of your actions. And your inner vibration will begin to change and you'll begin to resonate wholeness and wellness. Romans 12:2, be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind. One of the ways, I've got many more notes, we'll get to them next week. One of the ways is through healing sounds. And it just so happens we have a master of sound technology over here, Jeff. So I'm going to ask Jeff to play some sounds for us and allow those sounds, those vibrations to move you and to take you out of your whatever state you're in and bring you into a more pleasant, healed state of awareness. shift inside of you. Allow yourself now to move with the energy, follow the Spirit. What if I were to tell you that there were angels standing around us, moving through the aisles? They've been watching over you since you were a little child, taking care of you, enfolding you in love and light, whispering to you along the way. Sharing divine secrets, pointing you toward your mission, toward your purpose. Assisting you in finding love in your life. Follow the Spirit. Follow the movement. Follow the energy. Follow the flow. That's what all of these teachers are telling us. Move with the energy. Yourself to be comforted this morning. To be encouraged. Sometimes just being in this world can be tough, can be hard, especially when we feel like we're by ourselves. The truth is, you're not alone. You've never been alone. The silent witness in every gathering, in every home, in every heart, in every life is always there, watching. God is all around you. May our eyes be open to behold it and see it. Let yourself breathe now. Just breathe. That flow of life, that healing energy. If you know of someone that you'd like to pray for, bring them into this moment, into this gathering with us. Call their name. Give them a hug and let them know that it's okay, that they are accepted, that they are loved, that they are cherished. So we declare the resolution of conflict and disagreements, anger, bitterness, and resentment. And we turn the negatives into a positive. And we apply the healing power of divine love and acceptance. Most of the earth is covered over by the ocean. What is the ocean? What is the water? What does it symbolize? It symbolizes the infinite, the depth, divine love. Streams, the rivers, constantly washing over the rocks, moving through the forest and the woods, bringing its life and its abundance to all. We live on a planet of prosperity and joy and abundance. Can you feel it this morning? Allow those waters to wash over you and your family and your friends. Bring in your co-workers. Maybe the homeless person you saw the other day on the street that you can't get out of your mind. Just bring them into this moment and hold them here. And see them as they are. Lovely and beautiful children of God. Lost their way. May you be a safe place for others to land, to be. May we be a haven of peace and rest and healing for all. And for just a moment, while Jeff plays, I invite you to just sit and allow yourself to shift just a little bit more, a little deeper into those healing waters. for all those who have come before us and have brought us to this point. Thank you. That we stand on their shoulders this morning. We're so grateful. And whenever you're ready, we say amen. And so it is. Let's reach. Stretch it out a little bit. Beautiful. Feeling good? Alert? Awake? Now, for something totally different. Thank you, Lisa. Let's give her a hand this morning.
Good morning, Union Community. My name is Lisa Munoz, and it's my joy to serve as your platform assistant this morning. At this time, I'd like to ask our ushers to prepare to receive the offering. And this part of our service, the offering that we do each Sunday, it's where each of us has the opportunity to give financial support to our Unity mission and vision. And today, it's our chance to practice daily word, to put into action what we talked about through the word today, our generosity. These funds go to ensure that we have all we need to support spiritual growth for our community and to maintain our beautiful campus here. Your giving truly makes a difference, and we appreciate your gifts. We ask that each of you consider being a consistent giver, because this consistency is the key to our prosperity. And for our online community, please go to our website now at unitychurchofgreenville.org and donate there. We also have text to give, which is a really easy and simple way to make your gift. And if everyone could join me right now in our affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all I receive, and all that I am. Thank you. So the ushers are going to come forward for your gifts. And while they are doing that, I'm going to take a moment to ask, is there anyone here today for the first time? Is it first time for anyone? Maybe even online there might be someone. Okay. Well, we always make time to check and see because we want to welcome these new members to our community. So, and if there is anyone online, welcome to you today as well. I've got news about upcoming events here at the church, and we've also created a printed schedule for you to take home with you if you want. These are out on the table in the front entryway, and it's a great way to have the dates right at hand, add them to your calendar at home. For the in-person events this week, you're invited to come and attend the Tuesday morning meditation, which happens each week at 10:30 here in the church. And Reverend James leads this, so please join him to practice meditation together. On Wednesday evening at 6:30 this week, we're hosting the Circle of Light meditation. And this includes gratitude sharing, a guided meditation, quiet time, and healing prayers. So come and join for that. On Friday mornings at 10:30, the Course in Miracles group meets here in our church, and that's led by Sean Mitchell and Joe Marshall. We've also got online events during the week, and these include Tuesday and Thursday mornings with Reverend James at 10 a.m. on the Facebook page, and he works with Universal Prayer at these times. So look for that on the Facebook page. At Wednesdays at 5:30, Reverend James leads a metaphysical discussion. So join in for this discussion with him from the comfort of your home, and this is also found on the Facebook page. We've got a very special event coming up this month. On July 22nd and July 23rd, we here at Unity of Greenville are hosting a leadership training that's being presented by the Unity Ministers of the Mid-Atlantic Group. So this is a special occasion for us to be able to host this regional event. So it's on Friday and Saturday of that week, and there are going to be workshops and learning sessions led by special guest presenters, special guest ministers that are coming here to do these workshops with us. It's a free event, but we would like to know if you're coming so that we can plan to provide the lunch for you on Saturday. So if you can just email the church, email the office, or get in contact with Reverend James and let us know that you're planning to attend that. It'll be great to work together on that. Jim Hall is here today. He's our sacred service coordinator. I don't see him sitting right here. I think he's busy coordinating out in the hall. But he would love to speak with you if you are feeling called to help as a volunteer. We've got lots of ways that you can lend your hearts and hands to help all that needs to happen in our Unity community each week. And can we take just a moment right now to show our appreciation for all the volunteers that make this service happen every week? We want to give them a hand. Thank you, volunteers. We so appreciate you. Lastly, I want to ask if there's anyone in need of prayer today, here or online. We want to support you in prayer. You can leave your prayer request in our prayer box today after the service. And you can also call the office or email to ask for support. And of course, we also want to remind you about Silent Unity, the 24/7 prayer support that's always available to all of us. You can look that up online. They have an app as well, and they are marvelous. They're there for you, so take advantage of that. And actually, there is one last thing. Lastly, Reverend James added here for me to say, please join us for refreshments after the service. We've got, I guess stuff is happening back there. Jim's waving his hand. He's probably got it all set up. All right, so please join us after service for a time for sharing and fellowship. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Let's give her a hand. I think we should end with a song. Let us sing a little bit. Does that sound good? I'm already safe in my eternal yourselves a hand. Okay. You know, this month there's a lot of birthdays. We're not going to embarrass anybody, Leah, you know, but a lot of birthdays. And so we just want to. How many here are July birthdays? What? I know. I told her we wouldn't embarrass her. But
Just
we
look for
just,
the gal that's wearing a tiara, and it was
That's
her
right.
sweet 16.
yeah. And you're a little over 16, right? Just a little bit. 17, 18, something. Yeah, that's what I thought. So happy birthday to all of our July people. Happy birthday. All right. Thanks so much for being here today. Thanks for being a part of our Unity community. We appreciate you so much. Don't forget our new time, 10:30, starting August the 7th. But if you get here at 10, it's okay. You can just sit and meditate and welcome people as they come in, right? Thanks. Let's all stand together. All right. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. For wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Smile at somebody. Give them a fist bump or something. We'll see you next time.